Welcome back to another video whacked TLL, and most people don't have a problem with effort. They have a problem with direction. They're busy all day, moving from one task to another, answering everyone, reacting to everything, and wondering at night why they haven't moved closer to the life they want. The truth is simple. You can be busy and still be going nowhere. Dasha, your attention is one of the most valuable things you possess. Every day you spend it somewhere. You spend it on people, conversations, problems, entertainment, goals, fears, or dreams. The question is not whether you will give your attention away. The question is whether you will choose where it goes. If you don't decide what matters to you, the world will decide for you. Other people's opinions will become your priorities. Other people's expectations will become your schedule. Other people's success will become your standard. And before you realize it, you can spend years building a life that looks impressive from the outside, but doesn't feel meaningful on the inside. So stop for a moment and ask yourself, what actually matters to me? Not what impresses people. Not what gets the most attention. Not what everyone else is chasing. What matters to you? Maybe it's becoming disciplined. Maybe it's building a meaningful career. Maybe it's becoming a better person. Maybe it's learning, creating, serving your family, developing your character, or becoming someone you can genuinely respect. Whatever it is, identify it. Because once you know what matters, decisions become easier. You don't need to say yes to everything. You don't need to attend every conversation. You don't need to respond to every opinion. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You can look at something and say, that may be valuable, but it isn't valuable for me right now. That is focus. Focus is not doing more. Focus is having the courage to eliminate what doesn't belong. Imagine trying to reach a destination while constantly changing direction. You could walk all day and still end up far from where you wanted to be. Life works the same way. Every distraction may seem small, but repeated distractions create a completely different destination. Your future is being shaped by what you repeatedly choose to pay attention to today. So protect your priorities. If your goal matters, schedule time for it. If your education matters, study when you don't feel like studying. If your character matters, keep your promises when nobody is watching. If your relationships matter, give people your presence instead of giving them whatever attention remains after everything else. And understand this. What truly matters will require sacrifice. You cannot have unlimited time for everything. Saying yes to one priority often means saying no to something else. That is not failure. That is life. You don't need to live according to every opportunity that appears. You need to live according to your values. Stop asking, how can I fit everything into my life? Start asking, what deserves a place in my life? Then act accordingly. Your life becomes powerful when your actions begin matching your priorities. When what you say matters and what you do matters are the same thing, you develop integrity. You become focused. You become difficult to distract. And eventually you stop living reactively. You start living deliberately. You stop chasing everything. You start building something. Decide what truly matters and then have the discipline to protect it. Distraction is one of the quietest ways to lose control of your life. It rarely arrives announcing itself as a problem. It comes disguised as something harmless: one more video, one more conversation, one more notification, one more excuse, one more hour spent watching what everyone else is doing. And then the day is gone. The problem is not that you have no time. The problem is that your attention is being divided. Every time you allow something unimportant to interrupt something important, you are making a decision. You are telling yourself, this deserves my attention more than my goal does. If you repeat that decision every day, eventually your distractions become your lifestyle. You must learn to recognize the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Not everything demanding your attention deserves it. Someone else's opinion may be loud, but that doesn't make it valuable. A notification may appear immediately, but that doesn't mean you need to respond immediately. A new opportunity may look exciting, but that doesn't mean it belongs on your path. A focused person doesn't react to everything. A focused person chooses. You don't have to answer every message the moment it arrives. You don't have to participate in every argument. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to compare your progress with someone else's highlight reel. And you certainly don't have to abandon your priorities every time something new demands your attention. Your goals require concentration. Your growth requires consistency. Your future requires patience. And none of those things can be built when your mind is constantly being pulled in 10 different directions. Start creating boundaries around your attention. When you work, work. When you study, study. When you pursue an important goal, give it your full presence. Remove unnecessary interruptions and stop treating every distraction like an emergency. You will discover something powerful as when you control your attention, you begin to control your results. The world will always offer you something to look at, something to worry about, something to criticize, something to compare yourself with, something to chase. There will always be another trend, another opinion, another notification, another opportunity, another reason to postpone what matters. If you chase everything, you will build nothing. You must become comfortable letting things pass without following them. Not every door needs to be opened. Not every conversation needs your response. Not every criticism deserves your energy. Not every opportunity deserves your commitment. Your ability to say no protects your ability to say yes to what truly matters. And remember, distraction isn't always entertainment. Sometimes distraction is perfectionism. Sometimes it's constantly planning instead of acting. Sometimes it's worrying about what people will think. Sometimes it's jumping from one goal to another because the first one became difficult. Don't confuse movement with progress. You can spend an entire day doing things and still avoid the one thing that could change your life. So identify your most important task and give it your best energy. Do it before you give your attention to the world, because every morning you have a choice. You can wake up and become a servant to everything demanding your attention, or you can wake up and decide what deserves your attention. That choice may seem small, but small choices repeated every day become your life. Protect your mind. Protect your time. Protect your goals. And when something doesn't serve your purpose, have the discipline to let it go. You don't need to control the entire world. You only need to control what you choose to give your attention to. Focus on what matters. Ignore what doesn't. Keep moving forward. That's how you take your life back. Your energy is limited, and that makes it valuable. Every morning you wake up with a certain amount of time, attention, mental strength, and emotional energy. You can spend those resources on things that move your life forward, or you can waste them on things that leave you exactly where you started. The difference between people who make progress and people who remain stuck is often not talent. It is where they consistently place their energy. You cannot control everything that happens to you. You cannot control every person's opinion. You cannot control the past. You cannot control every obstacle that appears in your path, but you can control what you do next. And that is where your power begins. Stop spending your energy fighting battles you were never meant to win. Stop replaying yesterday. Stop trying to convince everyone that you are capable. Stop wasting hours worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Take that energy and put it into action. If you want to improve your life, ask yourself a simple question. What can I actually influence today? Maybe you can improve a skill. Maybe you can finish an important task. Maybe you can learn something new. Maybe you can organize your priorities. Maybe you can take one step toward a goal you've been postponing. Whatever the answer is, start there. Progress doesn't require you to control everything. It requires you to consistently work on the things within your control. Too many people spend their energy complaining about circumstances instead of improving their response to those circumstances. They wait for motivation. They wait for perfect timing. They wait for someone to encourage them. Don't wait. Use what you have. You may not have the perfect resources. You may not have perfect conditions. You may not have complete confidence, but you have the ability to take the next step. And the next step matters. 1 hour spent learning is better than 1 hour spent complaining. One difficult conversation handled with maturity is better than hours of resentment. One page written is better than another day of planning. One workout completed is better than another promise to start tomorrow. One focused action can create momentum that changes everything. Your goal is not to become busy. Your goal is to become effective. There is a difference. Busy people fill their schedules. Effective people fill their days with meaningful actions. So look at your life and identify where your energy is leaking. Are you constantly checking what other people are doing? Are you spending too much time thinking about what people think of you? Are you jumping between goals? Are you spending your best hours on low-value activities? Are you giving your attention to problems that have no productive solution? If so, make a change. Your energy should have a destination. Give your best hours to your most important work. Give your strongest attention to your biggest priorities. Give your effort to activities that build skills, strengthen character, improve relationships, and create progress. And don't underestimate small actions. A tree doesn't become strong in one afternoon. It grows through consistent nourishment over time. Your life works the same way. Every focused action is a deposit into your future. You may not see results immediately. Keep going. There will be days when your effort seems invisible. There will be moments when you question whether your work is making a difference. But discipline means continuing to invest even when the reward hasn't arrived yet. Don't demand immediate results from every effort. Trust the process. Your responsibility is to plant, water, learn, improve, and repeat. Eventually, the results catch up. So stop asking why isn't my life changing? But I ask, where am I putting my energy every day? Because your energy follows your attention, and your results follow your energy. Put it where it matters. Put it into your growth. Put it into your goals. Put it into becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. Don't waste the power you have trying to control what you cannot change. Let's control what you can. Improve what you can. Build what you can. Then do it again tomorrow. That is how ordinary effort becomes extraordinary progress. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves an explanation. Not every argument deserves your participation. Not every opportunity deserves your time. And not every person deserves access to your energy. One of the greatest forms of personal strength is learning what to ignore. People often think success comes from doing more, answering more, proving more, and reacting more. But sometimes the greatest progress happens when you stop reacting altogether. You don't have to attend every argument you are invited to. You don't have to prove your worth to people who have already decided not to recognize it. You don't have to explain every decision you make. You don't have to chase people who don't value your presence. And you don't have to let someone else's negativity become your responsibility. Your attention is precious. Treat it that way. Imagine your mind is a room. Every unnecessary argument, comparison, complaint, and distraction is another object placed inside that room. Eventually, there is no space left for the things that actually matter. Clear the room. Remove what doesn't belong. Make space for your goals, your learning, your relationships, your creativity, and your peace of mind. This doesn't mean becoming careless or ignoring responsibilities. It means becoming selective. There is a difference between ignoring something important and refusing to waste energy on something meaningless. A mature person learns to ask, does this deserve my attention? If the answer is no, move on. Someone criticizes you, learn from useful feedback, then keep moving. Someone misunderstands you. Explain when necessary, but don't spend your entire life trying to control every person's perception. Someone else is moving faster. Let them. Their timeline is not your assignment. Someone is trying to pull you into unnecessary drama. You can choose not to participate. This is where discipline becomes powerful. You cannot control what people say, but you can control whether you carry their words around all day. You cannot stop every distraction from appearing, but you can decide whether you follow it. You cannot prevent every obstacle, but you can decide whether the obstacle becomes your excuse. Your focus becomes stronger every time you refuse to give unnecessary things your energy. And understand this, saying no may disappoint people. Let it. You are not responsible for making everyone comfortable with your priorities. If you say yes to everything, eventually you will have no time left for what matters most. Every yes has a cost. When you say yes to another person's demands, you may be saying no to your own goals. When you say yes to endless entertainment, you may be saying no to growth. When you say yes to constant comparison, you may be saying no to gratitude and progress. So choose carefully. Your future deserves more attention than temporary distractions. Your purpose deserves more attention than random opinions. Your growth deserves more attention than meaningless competition. And your time deserves more respect than unnecessary drama. There will always be people who misunderstand your focus. They may call you distant because you stopped participating in things that were holding you back. They may wonder why you no longer react the way you used to. Don't worry about it. Growth changes your priorities. As you become more serious about your future, you naturally become less interested in things that waste your present. You begin to understand that silence can be more powerful than an argument. Walking away can be more powerful than winning. Consistency can be more powerful than explanation. And progress can be more powerful than proving a point. You don't need to win every conversation. You need to win the battle for your attention. So become selective with your energy. Ignore the noise. Ignore the unnecessary comparison. Ignore the pressure to impress everyone. Ignore the temptation to respond to everything. Keep your eyes on the work. Keep your mind on the goal. Keep building. Because every time you ignore what doesn't deserve you, you create more room for what does. And eventually, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't become stronger by controlling everything around you. You became stronger by deciding what was no longer worthy of controlling you, dumb. Protect your attention. Protect your purpose. And keep moving forward. Your life is built by what you consistently prioritize. Not by what you say matters. Not by what you intend to do someday. Not by what you promise yourself when you're motivated. Your real priorities are revealed by where you repeatedly place your time, attention, and effort. If you say your future matters, but you never invest time in building it, your actions are telling a different story. That is why you must stop living by accident and start living by decision. You don't need to have your entire life figured out. You simply need to know what deserves your attention right now. Maybe your priority is education. Maybe it is developing valuable skills. Maybe it is becoming more disciplined, strengthening your character, improving your relationships, or working toward an important goal. Whatever it is, give it a place in your daily life. Because a priority without action is only a wish. Your calendar, your habits, and your daily choices should reflect the future you claim to want. If something matters, make time for it. Don't wait until you have more time. You probably won't. Life will always be full. There will always be another responsibility, another distraction, another problem, another reason to postpone. You have to decide that your priorities deserve a place now. This doesn't mean you must work every minute. It means you stop giving your best energy to things that don't move your life forward. You can spend hours consuming information and still avoid learning something useful. You can spend an entire day being busy and still accomplish nothing meaningful. You can constantly plan your future while refusing to take the first uncomfortable step. Don't confuse activity with progress. Build your days around meaningful action. Wake up knowing what matters. Choose the important task. Give it your attention. Finish what you can. Then do it again tomorrow. This is how a meaningful life is created. Not through one dramatic moment, but through hundreds of ordinary decisions. And remember, priorities require boundaries. If everything is important, nothing is important. You may have to say no. You may have to turn down distractions. You may have to spend less time trying to impress people and more time improving yourself. You may have to accept that some people won't understand your choices. That's okay. You are not building your life to satisfy everyone's expectations. You are building it according to the values you choose. Don't allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel confident. Some mornings you'll want to quit. Some days progress will feel painfully slow. But your priorities don't disappear simply because your feelings change. Discipline means remembering what matters when motivation becomes quiet. If your goal is important, continue. If your growth is important, keep learning. If your future is important, keep preparing. If becoming a better person is important, keep practicing the qualities you respect. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. And don't become so focused on your destination that you forget to appreciate the journey. Building your life around priorities doesn't mean removing everything enjoyable. It means creating balance around what genuinely matters. Make room for rest. Make room for meaningful relationships. Make room for curiosity. Make room for moments that remind you why you're working so hard. A successful life isn't simply a life filled with achievements. It is a life where your achievements, relationships, values, and daily choices fit together in a meaningful way. So take an honest look at your life. Ask yourself, does the way I'm spending my days match the life I say I want? If the answer is no, don't become discouraged. Change the next decision. Change the next hour. Change tomorrow's priorities. You don't need to rebuild your entire life overnight. You just need to start directing it. Because every day, you're casting votes for the person you're becoming. Choose wisely. Give your energy to what matters. Give your time to what matters. Give your discipline to what matters. And let the unnecessary things fall away. Your life will not be transformed by what you occasionally do. Yes, sir, it will be transformed by what you consistently prioritize. So decide what matters. Build your days around it, protect it. Protect it. Or keep going. One focused day becomes a focused week. One focused week becomes a focused month. And enough focused months can create a life you once thought was impossible. So your priorities shape your direction shapes your actions, and your actions shape your future.